Hi, my name is Steve Stine from GuitarZoom.com, and today we're going to be talking about at least 5 tips to overcome your biggest challenges as a beginner guitar player. Now, sometimes these things get in the way and you get frustrated and, your fingers get sore, all that kind of stuff, and so that's what we want to focus on today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to remind you, when you first start learning how to play guitar, you've got to get a mindset that you are now officially a guitar player. Even if you've only been playing for a few weeks or whatever it might be, you need to remind yourself that you're now officially a guitar player. You're part of our gang, right? Our group of people. And so you need to adopt the idea that you need to grab the guitar every day. It's just something that you get used to being able to do. So the first tip I want to give you is practice on the days that you eat. Okay, get into a routine of picking up the guitar and playing. Okay, even if it's for 5 minutes, but you've got to get it in your head, because if you just come home every day and you think, okay, it was a really busy day, which I'm sure it probably was. I had all these other things I had to take care of. You still need to find a way to get it in your mind, because if you're only picking it up once a week or once a month, it's just never going to happen for you. So you need to adopt the idea that you are a guitar player and start learning and training yourself to pick up the guitar on a daily basis, okay? So that's the first thing. The next thing I want to go into is finger pain and soreness. So if you start practicing and you're feeling finger pain and things like that, okay, one thing that you want to do is think about maybe shorter practice times, okay? Think about your technique, proper finger placement. Sometimes that can make a really big difference. Maybe it's setting up your guitar properly so it actually plays a little bit easier for you. Maybe you've got an acoustic guitar with thicker strings on there, and when you play, it's really hard to play. Your fingers get sore, and then you don't want to play anymore. Well, you could go to, for instance, maybe a lighter gauge of string on your acoustic or even your electric guitar. Or maybe the guitar, if you brought it into a music store, a guitar store, they could set it up so it's a little bit easier to play. They can actually take the strings and put them a little bit closer to the neck and make it a little bit easier for you to play. So shorter practice times, okay? Maybe a couple of times throughout the day would help. Stretching your fingers, which we'll get into in a little bit too, but different kinds of things like that can certainly help, and setting up your guitar properly can make a big difference, maybe putting a lighter set of strings on there, okay? The next thing, this is our third thing, is the lack of time. And this is a big one for everybody, okay? You don't have a lot of time to practice. Well, even if you did 5-minute intervals throughout the day, maybe a little bit in the morning before you leave, and a little bit when you get home, and a little bit before you go to bed, or whatever it might be, 5, 10, 15 minutes is better than nothing, okay? Demands of work and family and other commitments that you have, they always will be there. They're never going to go away. And it's not like guitar players like me don't have those obligations or have never had those obligations. I've always been a really busy person, but again, because I adopted the mindset that I am a guitar player, and certainly once I started learning how to do things on the guitar, I found excitement and motivation, which we're going to talk about too, in my playing. And I wanted to pick it up. Even if I was frustrated, even if I had a bad day, sometimes picking up the guitar actually made things better. So think about ways that you can practice. One thing that I'll even tell people, depending on where you are in your journey, is sometimes, even if you're not around your guitar, you might be at work or something like that, or you're driving, like if you do a lot of traveling, you can think about stuff. You can visualize a chord or visualize a scale or listen to a song and visualize the changes of that song or whatever it might be. So oftentimes it doesn't, eliminate the need to grab the guitar and play. Obviously, you need to do that. But if there's times when being physically around the guitar isn't easy to do for that day or those days, you can still practice by thinking and memorizing and studying things. So by the time you get back to your guitar, you've already planned, you've already thought about this. And I do that a lot. Like I travel a lot. And so, I listen to a lot of music or study things or have charts that I'll be studying when my guitar isn't around. So that way, when I get to the guitar, I'm not wasting my time. I've already thought about all of these things. Now it's time to actually do the playing. Hey, I'd like to give you a free pass to my best courses that will take your playing to the next level fast. Just go to guitarzoom.com and get started for free. And there's also a link in the description. Thanks. Another thing that gets in the way sometimes is just the feeling of the lack of progress, and then that kind of de-escalates the motivation that you might have. Frustration is a common thing, and we all go through that. Certainly, it doesn't just go away when you get better at playing. There are times that you get frustrated with playing, and you don't see that progress. What I always tell people is with the guitar, it's not like every day is a better day and you just keep going uphill like this. That's never been that way for me. For me, I spend a lot of time working on something and it feels like I'm plateaued, and I'll keep working on it, and then all of a sudden I'll feel the movement upward, right? That something has changed, but I need to put the proper time in. Some things come easy, but not everything. Some things really require time and patience and effort in order to get over those. Sometimes they take a different approach, a different point of view. Maybe I'm studying something and I need to rethink how I'm doing it. Maybe my technique is off a little bit and I need to work on that a little bit. Or, talking to another guitar player or a teacher or something might give me a different perspective on what I'm trying to do and actually set me on a course that makes whatever I'm trying to do, the goal I've got in mind, maybe it makes it more achievable for me, okay? And for me, that also goes with the next thing, which is lack of motivation. The more you step away from the guitar, the motivation to pick the guitar up goes down. And so you need to make sure, that's why I said every day you grab the guitar, you adopt the mindset, you are a guitar player, you grab that guitar and you do things with it. But the other thing is think about having discussions with other musicians or other guitar players, right? Maybe your guitar lessons aren't just learning things, but they're an element of motivation for you. Or maybe you've got some friends, or you go to a show. Like sometimes those things can make a big difference, just going to a concert. And it doesn't have to be a huge concert. It might be something local, a local band that you go see, or a friend that plays in a band, or, whatever it might be. Just different kinds of things like that to keep you motivated. Maybe it's learning some new music, or even just listening to a new music or a different style of music or something like that. Okay? Another thing I want you to think about, this is definitely more than 5, is feeling overwhelmed. If you feel like every time you grab the guitar, it's just you've got too much to practice and not enough time, maybe you're putting yourself in a situation where you need to back down on the amount of goals that you have. I think that's wonderful to have goals. But if they're overwhelming you to the point where you don't even really want to pick up the guitar, maybe you need to back down on those things. Okay? Don't feel like you have to do so much. Focus on what's most important. For instance, if you're working on, some songs and you're learning how to play a G and a C and a D chord, and now you've got a new song that requires an E minor chord, well, that's a logical next step, right? But if you've got another song, a new song that, is a tapping thing, and it's way further along than you are, I'm not saying that you couldn't work on it. What I'm saying is you just have to be careful of keeping things in perspective of what's most important for your journey. And again, those things that might be exciting for you and motivate you, and I think that's great. But if they're all frustrating you and you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 things that are frustrating you, that's where the bad things can happen. So you have to be really careful with that. Okay? So just some different kinds of things to think about. I would start with all of these things, which for me are mindsets more than specific things, because it all depends on what journey you're on and what your goals are. And all of us are different that way. But start by organizing yourself, making a plan of attack, how much time you actually have, committing yourself to a daily practice, staying motivated, be careful of being frustrated or overwhelmed. And let's start there, all right? Thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to support the channel so we can continue to bring you more free content, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you'd like more in-depth training and courses, go to guitarzoom.com and get started for free today.